Hello, everybody, and welcome to another fun-filled episode of the Bearded Mainah. I am Kenny, aka the Bearded Mainah. Now, as you can probably hear from my voice, it is quite late. I recorded an entire episode, and due to quite a few technical difficulties, I lost a good portion of that episode. So I took a break, I walked away, centered myself, and now I'm back at it. So you're probably going to notice a couple of weird cutscenes where I'm dressed differently, and that is because it got hot, so I changed. I got out of a sweatshirt. Yeah. So moving on. Tonight's episode is basically episode 2. Beard more than meets the eye. The redo. So if you've been watching me long enough, aka the now 4 episodes that I have done, number 2 was probably the worst. My sound system was just awful. I didn't really have the technical know-how on how to fix those issues. So I had my good friend DJ come out, and he helped me. So you're gonna see the episode the way that it should have been, or the way that it should have been with my current technical know-how. As I said in my announcement video, this is all new to me. I'm learning. I'm getting better with every episode, or at least I hope I'm getting better with every episode. I've learned some things along the way so far, and there's only one way to go, and that's up. So we're gonna keep going, and it doesn't matter how many beers I had. We're gonna continue. I'm doing Nonesuch Brewing from Scarborough, Maine. They are a great brewery. When I first walked in there, sorry, I'm rambling. Nonesuch was one of those places that I'd always driven past, being like, when I have the time, one day I'm gonna go in there. I will be there. So when I first went, it was right after our governor gave us the if you've been fully vaccinated, you can go out mask free. We lost all restrictions. We were allowed to be at full capacity at all indoor locations. So when I walked in, everything was quote unquote back to our norm. There was people wearing masks, of course. There was people who were not wearing masks, but everybody was having a great time. It was nice to see a brewery completely at capacity. When I walked in, it was just to grab a 4-pack, but when I opened up the door, I got blasted by laughter, by people having fun, by the smell of good food. It was a great atmosphere, one that I highly recommend. I have already drank their mojito, which was wonderful. I will do another episode where I'm drinking that on camera, and we don't have technical difficulties. It was really, really good. I drank their wheat ale while I was recording earlier today, and that was just phenomenal also. So now I'm going to be drinking their golden blonde ale, which is 4.8, so thankfully not so strong that my liver is going to kill me. And also their Irish red ale, which is 4.4, so another beer that you can drink and it's not going to leave you hurting. And while I drink these, we are going to be going over the topic of beer more than meets the eye, which I'm going to be going through all of these different types of beer, giving you my main example, So when I say main example, I mean I'm going to be giving you a beer that is from Maine, a beer that you hopefully will be able to find in stores and be able to enjoy yourselves. So an example, when I go over blonde ales, I could be talking about nonesuch blonde. When I'm doing this episode, there's a lot of reading because while I have the knowledge in my head, if I were to, as you can see, if I were to just go off the cuff, it's going to be very like all over the place, and you guys are not going to want to hear that. So I wrote everything down. So if you see me looking down at my screen, it is for two reasons. One, my ring light is very bright, and I do have light sensitivity. And two, I will be doing reading. So one day I will be able to get my laptop up so I'm able to read and stare directly at you guys. So you guys get to see my pretty blues while I read. So enough talking. Let's get right into it. We're going to start with the red. And while I've said it once and I'll say it 100 times, the sound of a beer just cracking open is just a relaxing sound. Oh, that's good. That is definitely a red ale. You definitely taste the hops. You definitely taste the earthiness. It's a good drink. At 4.4%, it's not gonna leave you hurting, especially if you are drinking a few all day. It's definitely very, very, very good. I can definitely see myself eating some pizza with it. Some pizza and wings. Get that buffalo in there, and then you're like, oh, I need a drink, and boom. Perfect. Okay, so before I get into the episode and all the meaty details that you guys want to know about, I did want to tell you guys that all of my information that I found was from my website called justbeerapp.com. I'm going to put the link below because it is a wonderful, wonderful tool for you to utilize if you are curious about a specific type of beer, if you're curious about where I can find that beer. The way that I did all of my research was there was an article about the descriptions of all of these beers. And so, like I said earlier, I have my main example. And basically, there's a tool on this website that you just type in the state that you're at, the type of beer you're looking for, and it will compile a list. It will tell you all the beers that are in your location that you would possibly want. So rather than searching through all of these brewery websites, which are, they're great. They have all the information that you need, but they are not going to give you, they're not meant to jump from website to website to website. This does that for you. You type in that you're looking for a dark ale, you're from Maine, boom, 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 boom. I hope you really enjoy those sound effects. All of those beers will be available to you. So we are going to start right in with amber or dark ales. Now, an amber ale is also called a red ale, and it's called that due to the reddish hue that the beer takes on from the use of the caramel and the malts. These ales are known for their hoppy flavor with their fruity undertones, meaning that when you take that sip of beer, so when you were going, that first thing that you're going to get is the hops. Then you're going to get those fruity undertones. So basically, the main example is a beer by the Maine Beer Company. It's called Zoe. It's named after one of the brewer's daughters. But this beer comes in at 7.2% APV. So with the amber and dark ales, we also have an amber and dark lager. These are a German-style beer known for their chocolatey flavors and their chocolate aromas. But the darker the beer, the more licorice aroma and taste that it tends to take on. So the example would be Tiller from Rising Tide. Now, this beer is known for being mahogany in color with notes of caramel, rye bread, orange, and citrus spices. This beer comes in at a 5.7%. Now, I'm going to take a break from talking about these two beers that I said I was going to go through and talk about Rising Tide. So Rising Tide is one of the first breweries that I ever drank from. So I was at a Secret Santa event, and one of my coworkers gifted me a to-go bottle of Rising Tide beer. And it was besides Allagash White, which was my original first introduction to craft beer. When I tried this, it was amazing. And when I found out I could take this growler, there it is. It took me a second. When I found out I was able to take this growler back and just fill it up time and time and time again, I took full advantage of that. And I was able to try all of their beers, and I didn't find one that I didn't like. And I enjoyed the atmosphere. It's in downtown Portland, so it's a good location. I just went there not too long ago, and it's actually really nice to see that a lot of other breweries are growing around it. So yeah, I definitely recommend Rising Tide. Tiller is a great beer. It's on the stronger end. Not stronger end. It's mid-range, 5.7%. You're going to know that you're drinking it after you drink more than one. But it's definitely, all of their beers are wonderful. So, moving on from the dark lager and ale, we have barley wine. Now, barley wine for me is a winter drink. It's known for having a stronger alcohol content. So when you take that first sip, you're going to notice a thicker mouthfeel, and you're going to taste that alcohol like right there. It's going to catch you right in the taste buds, and it can have a range of colors and flavors. One of the constants is a high alcohol content. So in my research, I found that it can go from 8 all the way up to 15, and I had found some that were higher. I can't imagine drinking something that's higher than 15%, especially if you had to drive afterwards. My favorite barley wine is actually from Sebago Brewing, and so their barley wine is called Barley Wine with the year that it's brewed. So their latest iteration is Barley Wine 2020. This was at 9.75, so it was fairly strong. It was delicious. It had hints of apricot. It had fig, caramel, cherries. It was a good beer in the winter. It was one of those beers that you could sit there and sip outside and feel warmer. It's definitely one of the beers that I highly suggest. You're going to notice that a lot of these beers I suggest. In my mind, there's only one type of beer that I refuse to drink, and that's Pilsners. I don't know what it is, but Pilsners to me can't do it. I've tried many of them, and I will always try it, but I rarely do I like them. But everything else I tend to enjoy. So moving on from barley wines, we've got Belgian IPAs or white India pale ales. So one of the things that I found interesting was that this beer had a misleading name. While it is Belgian inspired, it is an American beer. So this style of beer does come in a wide variety of colors and tastes. They range from very pale to a very deep gold and are always hazy. Typically hazy. This beer will often have a fruity aroma that coincides with the flavor. So if you're drinking an orange beer, or if you smell orange, chances are it's going to taste like orange. So these beers tend to be a little bit more bitter. When you talk to people who don't really understand or know about beers, IPAs are, I see a lot of memes about them, like, oh, hey, people who like IPAs make jokes about, like, oh, you like this beer? Oh, it tastes disgusting, right? Isn't it great? I don't understand that. IPAs are one of my favorites. The alcohol content tends to range 4 to like 9. No, that's a lie, actually. I just drank one. It was called NSFW, so not safe for work, and that was a 10.7. That was intense. But the main example is Viridian by Banded, formerly known as Banded Horn. Now, Banded is my brewery. I don't own it, sadly, but I love Banded. I frequent their Biddeford location often. I don't believe I've ever tried a beer that they had that I didn't like, and yeah, it's the ambiance. Like I said in my first episode, was that it's like going home. It is an area that I feel relaxed at. It is an area that we could have 100 people there and they could all be talking and I could still hear the person sitting right next to me. I don't know what it is. It's hard to describe, and I'm hoping one day I'll actually be able to do an episode there with a couple of friends, and you guys can actually see what I'm talking about when I say the ambiance. Now I say it a lot, but it's really difficult to describe unless you're there. So Viridian is a delicious IPA that has orange creamsicle flavors with candied lemon, fresh mango, papaya, a lot of tropical fruits, and it is truly a refreshing beer. This does come in at a 6%, so again, you're starting to get higher up in there. So the more you drink, the harder you feel. It's well worth it though. Now, this next beer, you're not going to find a main beer or a main example, because like with tequila, that has to be made with a certain agave, with champagne that can only be made in that certain province in France. This beer cannot be called this beer unless it's brewed in a certain area in Belgium. Now, this is a Berliner Weiss, and if I mispronounced it, I do apologize. I am not a linguist, so again, I do apologize. Now, this is a very, very low alcohol content beer. We're talking between 2.5 and 2.7%, which in my book is just spicy water. So this beer is known for its extremely low alcohol content. It's also known for being extremely tart and highly carbonated. So it is on my list. One of my bucket list items is to actually go to Germany and experience Oktoberfest. And I would love to try this Berliner Weiss. It would be a dream come true for me to be able to take you guys along with me when I go to Germany and experience Oktoberfest. That, my friends, is well in the future. Between the global pandemic and financial restraints. Moving on from that sad subject, we've got a Bach. Now, this is another beer that I was not able to find an example of. Now, that doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. It just means that I could not find one. And if you are able to find one, please comment below. Like, hey, dummy, this brewery's got a Bach beer, and it's great. I will gladly try it. I will go to the brewery, I will buy it, and I will bring it back, and I will do it on an episode. So Bachs tend to be clear to a gold or copper brown in color. This is a beer where the malts are the star. So the hops in the beer will give it like an herbal undertone. And unfortunately, like I said, I wasn't able to find a Bach beer for the main example. But again, please, if you know of one, comment below. Now, from Bach's, we've got double IPAs or imperial IPAs. Now, this one actually had a lot of interesting historical information, and I am a big history buff. It was my best subject in all of school. For the longest time, I thought I was going to be a history teacher. But I went the direct support professional route. I help work at a group home for adults with intellectual disabilities. So I totally went way off the reservation from history teacher. Now, so double IPAs or imperial IPAs, the term imperial comes from the 1800s when the term imperial meant that the beer was going to the imperial court of Russia. Now, later on, imperial changed to mean that this was the brewery's most luxurious brew. So nowadays, you're going to see DIPA, double IPA, or imperial. Sorry about that. You are in for what I like to call BBH, or Big, Bold, and Hoppy. I apologize. My dad jokes are showing. So in these beers, the amount of hops tend to be doubled or even tripled. And yeah, so they can be doubled or even tripled. These brews range between 7 and 14%. Yeah, 14% beer is, it's intense. I have only had one, and I literally mean one. I was only able to drink one before I was like, I need to stop. But, so the main example of our double IPA or imperial IPA is called Pluck It. Pluck It by Funky Bow. Now, this double IPA has tropical and citrus fruit flavors and comes in at 8%. Funky Bow is a brewery that I went to for the first time last summer. It was an experience. It reminded me of just a down-home barbecue. It's an outdoor facility where there's pizza that you can have. There's live music. You are allowed to bring your dogs. It is just good old-fashioned fun. They've got volleyball, cornhole, all the fun outdoor games that you could want. With live music, it is just a good time. Yeah, so again, another brewery highly recommended by your friend, the BeerdedMainah. Now, we're going down to fruits and vegetables. So, This category is considered more of a hybrid because it will encompass um, ales, lagers, everything really. And when I first read about this, I was like, fruits and vegetables. Like, what kind of vegetables would you actually want to put in your beer? And then I was like, well, wait a minute. All beers are technically fruit and vegetable based beers, but when you think about it, this subcategory or this hybrid category offers untold combinations, things that you wouldn't even think. Like, I mean, you can do a strawberry rhubarb. You could do, I mean, habanero beers are amazing. The spicy notes that go with that habanero are just make that beer wonderful. So it really does allow for an insane amount of combinations, and I definitely recommend trying everything at least once. Now, I said earlier in the episode, Pilsners were not my favorite. And I stand by that. I don't like Pilsners. But if somebody comes up to me and they're like, hey man, here's a new Pilsner, you might like it. I'm not going to say no. I'm going to try it. This red Irish style ale is just... I keep doing the chef's kiss thing a lot, and I don't know why I'm doing it, but it's so good. I definitely recommend this one. I've been recording for a while, and the beer's starting to get warm, and I'm not normally a warm beer drinker, but even warm, this is good. So this fruit and vegetable main example is called Seed by Bissell Brothers. Now, this is a brewery I have not been to, but it is on my list. I'm hoping I can get there either this weekend or next. But this fruit and vegetable beer includes locally grown strawberries and raspberries. And when added to the hoppiness of this beer, makes for a refreshing end to a hard day of yard work. Now, I haven't tried it. A lot of this information is coming from their website, but a strawberry beer, raspberry, just sounds good. I mean, it's going to be really difficult to make that a negative beer. And I definitely feel like after a long day of yard work, a good, moderately strong beer is right where you need to be. And from everything I've read, Seed does just that. So if you've tried it, please let me know. Let me know what you think. It is on my list of beers to try. So moving away from fruits and vegetables, we got our golden and we've got a golden or blonde ale. While not as popular in the U.S., in Europe, blonde ales are very, very popular. Blonde ales are lightly colored and are typically crisp, clear, and dry, which means that they go really, really well with food. They're not gonna sit heavy. So it's one of those beers that you can sit with your friends and you can just drink and eat to your heart's content. So our example of this comes from Hidden Cove Brewery. The beer is called Booty. It is a raspberry golden ale. It is a rich golden ale that has some sweet and sour deliciousness and comes in at 5.5%. Now, with the golden ale, we also have the golden lager. So golden lagers tend to be crisp, dry, and clean. Crisp, dry, and clean. Pale lagers and golden lagers, they are a beer that they don't combine really well. No ingredient is trying to outplay each other. You're going to get an even taste of everything. Nothing is going to overpower another. So golden lagers and golden ales, they have similar colors and mouthfeel. The main difference comes from the golden lagers, which are bottom fermented at a cooler temperature. Now, the main example comes from Four Peaks Brewing. I'm going to butcher this name, and I apologize, but again, I'm not a linguist. So the Munich Hales, or Hells, comes in at 5.2% and offers a malty sweetness with a hint of German hops. Now, there are like 12 more. I have no problem continuing and making episode number 5 this again, if you want. Please comment below, message me on Instagram and Facebook, or email me. All of those links are below. Now, if you want this, great. If not, let me know what you want. This podcast, while it is fun for me, I want to make an episode for you guys that you'll enjoy watching. I mean, you've got a husky, bearded dude sitting behind a computer wanting to entertain you. I am not going to start an OnlyFans page because that's not going to make anybody happy. So, you tell me what you guys want, and I will do my best to make it happen. You want a beer that you want to see me try? You have a beard product you want to see me try? You have a topic you want me to talk about? Please let me know, and I will gladly do that for you. All right, so one of the things that I have always been hoping for, way back when I was wide-eyed and bushy-tailed and I was just thinking about starting a YouTube channel, I would watch all of these beard YouTubers or content creators, and they had merchandise, they had their own beard oils, they had people that would request them to try items. They had companies coming up to them being like, please, please, please put our beard oil in your beard. Use our beard combs. And I was always like, oh, one day somebody's gonna ask me to put beard oil in my beard. Somebody's going to request that I try something because they care what I think about. They care what my opinion is on a certain product. And I am man enough to admit that I was so ecstatic to get somebody to comment on one of my videos and be like, hey man, I have a product for you to try. And it is a carbon fiber beard comb. Now, when I heard this, I was like, carbon fiber, what? Really? Isn't that the stuff that goes on cars? And so I got really excited. I went right out and I bought one at a local beauty store. And I kid you not, I hopped in the car, opened it up, and I instantly started brushing it through my beard. Instantly is a strong term. After I did my initial inspection on the teeth and everything, I started running it through my beard. And I have to say, this might be my new beard comb of choice. Now, in that first episode, the beard episode, I'm drawing a blank on the name, but in my beard episode, I talked about Kent combs and how amazing they were and how they were handmade and this, that, and the other, and that they were the pinnacle of a beard comb. And I have to say that is no longer the case. These carbon fiber brushes, and this isn't even the brand that the gentleman suggested. I will actually put the brand below, but this was $6 at Sally's. I don't know if there's a Sally's where you guys are, but in New England, Sally's is like the end all be all beauty product store. So walked in, was like, I need a carbon fiber beard brush. And they looked at me and they were like, what are you talking about? So they, after looking around, the woman came up to me and was like, hey, these actually just came in this morning. So like I said, I bought it, didn't even think about it, bought it, got out in the car, did my inspection, started brushing it through my beard, and it did the job perfectly. So I had straightened my beard the day before. I had recorded, and for me at least, after I straighten it, it goes back to my curliness, or the curliness that is my beard, pretty quickly. But after running this through my beard a few times, everything just straightened right back out. And it stayed like that. So I highly recommend, if you are a bearded man or a bearded person, if you know somebody who has a beard, I highly recommend grabbing one of those. They are just amazing. Now, before I'm going to let you guys go for the evening, I have merch. It's, in my opinion, pretty amazing. So if you are like me and are constantly sipping on water, but want to let everybody know that you are a bearded person, a beard supporter, or whatnot, you need the BeerdedMainah Emotional Support Beard Tumbler. Now, this is a 19 ounce metal tumbler with the Emotional Support Beard logo on it. If you want one of those come in at a steal at $20. If you want that, by all means, message me below and I can get one out to you ASAP. Now, you don't want a tumbler? Completely get that. But you still want to rock the Emotional Support Beard? I got you a sticker, bud. Comes in multiple colors. This comes in at $8. If you are interested in either the Emotional Support Beard sticker or the Emotional Support Beard tumbler, please email me below and I will get back to you. Now, that is it for the night. If you guys have any comments, questions, concerns, please reach out to me. I will respond to everybody. If you like what you've seen tonight, if you want more BeerdedMainah, please don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and hit the bell so you never miss another episode. I cannot believe I'm finally able to say that. I was quite happy to see 29 subscribers at 10 a.m. this morning. I would love to see us get up to the triple digits, but I am so happy for each and every one of you being here. I will see you all next week. Check me out on Facebook and Instagram. I am pretty active there. If you need to get out, reach out to me. I'm there. I am the BeerdedMainah.